Good Tuesday morning. Yeah, at least the sun's out. And that big white tank right there, that's what my anhydrous goes in. So remember that, because that'll be part of, bright though, today's video. Thank you, Brandon. I might just name the video that, I don't know. So you can see here, I got some stuff in, still waiting for some stuff, filters. Got some chisel plow points, don't have any bolts to put them on yet, still waiting for those. Tote full of field cultivator sweeps, whatnot. Like I said, still waiting for some things. Still got the heat on because it was 19 degrees yesterday. Yeah, it was about a 1 degree feel like temperature because of the wind. Today's Tuesday, supposed to get up to around 30. By Thursday we could almost hit 70, and then we're supposed to get back down into what would be kind of normal for us, mid to upper 40s, inching into the 50s and whatnot. But anyways, I showed you the anhydrous tank because today's video is just going to be it's probably more for you non-farmers than it is you farmers. I'm going to sit in my chair, let's have a chat. Most of you farmers will just be sitting there going, yep. So the whole thank you Brandon thing, yeah. Well, those of you who watch Jeff Ramo, the One Happy Farmer, you've seen that he hasn't been delivering any grain for the past going on 2 weeks because his truck's in the shop waiting for parts. Like I said, I'm waiting for some things. Scares the shit out of me what this spring's going to be like if we break something. Yeah. Are we going to be able to get the parts to, get it fixed in a timely manner to get shit planted? So let's talk about that. I showed you the anhydrous tank because in October of 2020, I filled that for last year, 2021's crop for spring planting. And I paid $375 a ton for it. That's an 11 or 12,000 gallon tank out there. Generally a tanker truckload of anhydrous is 21, sometimes close to 22 ton that they put in there. I think that's about what's in there now. But anyways, I refilled it again. What would it be, 6 months ago now, in October of 2021. And it was 750 or 755, I don't remember. Right around $750 a ton. So double. I've talked to my dry fertilizer guy because I run dry fertilizer through the planter for starter fertilizer. So like I said, this is more for you non-farmers. So there's two kinds of fertilizers. There's a dry and there's a liquid. Like my cousin has a planter that runs liquid fertilizer through. They call it pop-up fertilizer to help start the growing process of the plant. So I paid $430 a ton for spring of 2021's dry fertilizer. And my fertilizer guy last time we talked said it was around 850. So damn near double. Had a meeting with my spray guy, I think right after I got home from South Carolina, my trip down there. And my corn spray went up, I think it was like $10 an acre, so it worked out to be about a 70% increase. And my bean spray, this is for weeds, for you non-farmers. My bean spray went up just about 100%, just about double for what I'm using there. And it's kind of hit and miss what you get, or what you can get. So I'm telling you all this because, as you probably have seen, pudding brain Biden, our illustrious president, that 81 million people voted for. Yeah, how many of them were dead, but that's another story. Made a speech here like last week, I guess it was. I think it was when he was at that G7 summit or whatever, about how the sanctions are going to cause food shortages because the sanctions don't just hurt those that are sanctioned. Well, no shit, dipshit, because those that you sanction get pissed off, and and in that part of the world right now where there's war going on, Russia, Ukraine. Sure, you've all heard of that. And by the way, I do stand with the Ukrainian people, just like I stand with the Russian people. But Zelensky is just as big a piece of shit as Putin is. So let's keep that in mind. But they don't tell you that when we're sending billions of dollars of our money over there. But anyways, I'm not going to use statistics, but that region of the world produces what we will call in farmer measurements a shit ton of wheat. So the chances of Ukraine maybe not even planting any of that shit ton of wheat that they plant is pretty good right now. Chances are Russia may not get everything planted because, they're, as they lose soldiers, their draft system, which is, hey, you're going to go fight, get your ass over there. So I'm sure there's farmers that are being pulled into the fight. Plus, Russia has said, well, we're not going to export things to foreign countries. Okay. So here's my question. Are we going to, with Pudding Brain bringing this out, are we going to have, like we did basically a year or so ago, back in March, or 2 years ago, back in March of 2020, where you couldn't find shit paper in the store? I mean, I remember when that all started happening with the pandemic. I don't grocery shop. My wife says, you're going to go with me. Okay. So she shops at Wegmans and BJ's because we try to avoid Walmart. Yes, Wally World. So we went to both. Couldn't find shit paper. Imagine that. There was actually in BJ's one of those, and you've all seen them before. They're probably like 20 foot long. It's like a staircase inside where they stack the meat and stuff, in a cooler product type thing. Empty. Completely empty. No meats. Couldn't find shit paper. We walked around the corner of one aisle, and here was this big, like 3x3 square thing of, in plastic wrap of napkins, like thousands of napkins. I grabbed it and threw it in the bottom of the cart. And Barb's like, what the hell are you doing? We don't need napkins. I go, those will work for shit paper just the same as shit paper. And they'll flush just like shit paper. So, and she's like, hey, you got a point there. Yep. So we weren't going to run out of shit paper. So now when, people actually start seeing, and Barb said she is seeing now the shelves not having the stuff that's normally there, are people going to start freaking out and, bum rushing the grocery stores? I remember we couldn't find bread. We ended up in Wally World. Yep, good old Walmart. We turned the corner down the bread aisle, and we're like, from here to the door there, 20, 30 feet away, and I see 2 loaves of bread. Other people are coming towards it too. So I let out the biggest fake sneeze, and I start, coughing and hacking. And of course, back then everybody's, oh my God, the vid. Well, we got 2 loaves of bread that day. So Barb was like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, we got bread, didn't we? After a while, she was like, yeah, you're right, we did. So, just the shortages of shit, the trying to get things right now. All I want is for one of you true blue leftist dumbasses to come sit down with me and look me straight in the eye and tell me how much better we are off today than we were when Trump was in. And I want you to list your reasons. You won't be able to. You'll just come up with some bullshit like the left does, and the media, including this ScrewTube and all the rest of lamestream media and big tech media. They hide what's going on. Have you seen anything about the trucker convoy lately? No, not unless you follow certain places on social media, but it's still going pretty strong. But nothing, not a word. Didn't hear much about the one in Canada neither. Nope. Which is why when you don't hear these things, I'm going to look something up on my phone right now and show you. And the media, as corrupt as they are, doesn't tell you these things. Oh, where is it? Bear with me. So I'm going to get to it. You will... right here. Okay, here's a bunch of bills in California that are getting ready to be passed in the next week or so. Sorry about that. It's small print, so I'm just going to read them to you. I'm not going to read the bill numbers, SB 871, whatever. But this adds the COVID-19 injection to the list of immunizations for public and private school, regardless of whether it has FDA approval or not. Imagine that. Here's one that classifies any anti-vid medical opinion as unprofessional conduct, subject to discipline by the medical board. Wow! So we're only allowed to hear one side of the story, like I've been saying all along. Lowers the age of the vax consent to 12 without parental consent or knowledge. Imagine that. Authorizes the medical board to inspect a doctor's office and medical records without patient's consent. Requires law enforcement to enforce public health guidelines or lose their funding. Here's another form of defund the police. Requires schools to create long-term testing plans and report test results to the California Department of Health. Prohibits any person or entity from making statements government deems untrue or misleading by any means, including on the internet and ads. Yeah. Authorizes school health personnel to disclose child's medical info without parents' consent to a third party, so they can just give it out to anyone. And there's more, and I'm not going to keep going through them because you get my point of what happens when they want to distract you from one thing, which is what Ukraine and Russia has done, while they sneakily do another thing. And I'm sure this whole bullshit about a food shortage, they didn't want anyone to hear about. But, when Pudding Brain goes off script and stops reading the teleprompter, oh, he just fucks everything up. And then they got to come out and try and, correct everything he says and whatever. I mean, as far as the vid goes, I'm even getting tired of talking about it. I've told y'all in the past, you be you, I'll be me. You want to line up for your 12th booster, go for it. You don't want to do any of your own research as to what's really going on, then don't. Just keep listening to the government. You want to wear a face diaper the rest of your life and be pissed off at me because I'm going to continue to call it a face diaper? Yes, I am. But this whole supply chain thing and the chances of food shortages, because we grow one crop a year. So don't think that it's just going to affect 1 year. And when the people that, say, oh, well, look at the price farmers are getting right now for corn and beans, corn's up, $6-7 a bushel and whatnot. So if I got $5 a bushel a year or so ago and my costs have doubled, shouldn't I get 10? So instead, if I'm going from $5 to $6.50, but I'm paying double to produce that, don't tell me how much money I'm making. And I guess the one thing I want everyone to take away from this is don't blame us farmers when you do go to the store in 6 months, a year and a half from now, because like I said, this ain't gonna just be over in 1 year, and say, oh, it's some damn farmer's fault that there's a food shortage. No. Your government at every level, especially, you see in California and here in New York, doesn't give two shits about you. The sooner you get that through your head, the better off you'll be. Was Trump a great guy? I don't think he was a bad guy. He at least gave a shit about America, gave a shit about putting us first. He needed his Twitter fingers, broken so he could stay the hell off of Twitter. But he was a pompous ass a lot of times. But you know what? I'll take $2 gas. I'll take cheap food. I'll take our stores being full. I'll take the supply chain not being so effed up because of what's going on in this country and in this world because of the leaders that we have now. So again, you lefties, come on out here and sit down with me and look me in the eye and tell me just exactly how much better off we are today, because you won't be able to. But you'll get into some spiel about Trump's mean tweets and all that. I mean, at least as a conservative person, I can call out the Republicans also for being pieces of shit, because that's the one thing Trump did, is he exposed that they're all a swamp. It's just some are worse than others. But all right, so that's, you know, that's the rant for the day. And I just wanted you non-farmers to know that, you know, when the shelves start getting bare, don't blame us, because we're doing what we got to do to try and survive also. But oh, and this video should have my new little intro that Barb decided she thought we should have an intro. I said, okay, I think it's pretty cool. Tell me if you do. So click on the Mad Moose link and you can check out the Grumpy Farmer apparel. And we'll see you in whatever the hell the next one is.